I'm Jo. Welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. Just wanted to record a video today to give an update of what's been going on in my life, what the plan is for my channel going forward, and then also to give you my fall TBR. So this summer I moved back to my parents' house to work. I recently quit my job there after 10 years of being there, which is really bittersweet. I think it took a lot more for me to emotionally process than I realized. Right towards the end of the summer, I felt like I was going through a lot of change in myself personally because I was walking away from that job. And I also this summer lost my grandmother, which was really hard on me. She is someone that I credit all of my creativity towards. Grief was definitely very heavy setting on me the entire summer, which was really challenging for not only myself but for my family. It's really hard for me to create when I feel emotionally unwell, which is why self-care is so important for artists. I think a lot of artists can relate to that feeling of when you're emotionally unwell, then you can't make things, or when you try to force that creativity when you're not feeling your best. So I decided to take the whole summer off of being creative. As of right now, as you can see, I've moved back into my apartment. I have a new bookshelf, which is so exciting. This is my fantasy bookshelf, so I have all my fantasy on this bookshelf, which is the Billy bookcase from IKEA. I still have my other bookshelf, which my dad built for me. It's in my bedrooms. I am back in my apartment, which means I'm also back at school. For those of you that don't know, I'm currently attending college for video game design. I am also actively working towards an internship at a game studio here in Canada for next summer, which is a 4-month-long process. I might take you guys along on working on some of my pieces of art for that. Transitioning this into what my hope is for the channel going forward is mostly bookish content, maybe some lifestyle things thrown in there, and then also me being at school, because I know that a lot of people are also at school. A lot of people might be at art school or in a creative field, and I think that it really helps to inspire me. It makes me feel like I have someone to relate to when I see other people that are in a similar field or doing the same sorts of things as me. It brings me a lot of inspiration and motivation, so I hope that I can maybe be that for somebody else as well. Okay, on to the more fun updates. New glasses. I saw them on Sarah Caroli, which if you guys aren't following her, she is another book girly here on YouTube, and I absolutely am obsessed with her videos and her cozy vibes. I loved these frames so much, and I get compliments every time I wear them and people ask where they're from. So I'm gonna leave the information for the glasses down below because I'm sure some of you will want to know as well. I have fallen victim to the Jellycat phenomenon going on right now. These have been living on various bookshelves and areas in my home. So my friend got me this Jellycat that's like a little coffee latte, which I absolutely adore. He's the cutest thing. He's so precious. He lives on the shelf. And then my friend and I got the marshmallows. It comes with like a matching pink one, so she has the pink one. And then I have the little white marshmallow. He sits on my desk. And then I also got the matcha green bunny because matcha is my favorite drink and I love the color green. As you guys may know, throughout my apartment I have a lot of green elements in it. My other big update is that I have a new camera. I got this camera for myself for my birthday, and I just haven't recorded anything. Normally I just record on my phone, and I'm hoping that the quality of this is a lot better. I have this Sony ZV-E10. I'll put it up on the screen here. I'm hoping to invest in a mic down the line once I post videos more consistently going forward. Let's move on to what I am currently reading. I am currently hanging on to the last tiny little bit of summer, and I am reading Happy Place by Emily Henry. I'm not very far into it yet, but I love me a good Emily Henry book. I've read 2 of her books so far this year and absolutely love them. Also in the middle of Queen of Shadows, which is part of the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas on my Kindle. I bought the bundle with all 8 books on the Kindle, which I definitely recommend if you're looking to save some money, but I don't recommend it if you like keeping track of where your progress is, because when you look at the page number or how long it takes you to finish the book, it's really scary to look at because it says I have like 52 hours left because it counts all of the books all as one book. I do want to own the hard copies of these at some point to add to my Sarah J. Maas shelf. For the time being, this definitely saved me a lot of money. I think it was like $50 Canadian or something for all 8 books. So far this year, I have read 52 books. Yay! My original goal was 100, which we are not even gonna get close to hitting, but I'm just glad that I've read 52 books this year, because I went from reading 2 books last year to 52 this year, which is absolutely insane. I'm definitely back in my reading girl era, because I used to read nonstop when I was a kid. And I fell off with reading for the longest time going to university, because we had to read so many other things for classes that I just got sick of reading and fell out of love with reading. And I completely dove back into it this year, and it is such a therapeutic, cozy, self-care type of hobby to have. My new reading goal for this year is 70 books, so I'm hoping that this fall TBR will bring me a lot closer to that 70 books. My favorite book that I've read so far this year is Project Hail Mary by Andy Weir. This book brought me to tears. I was unwell. There were a lot of books that I've read this year that have been 5 stars that I've loved, but this was a 6-star read for me. And if you've not read this book, I highly recommend it. It would be a great fall read. Okay, time to get into the fall TBR section of this video. I'm hoping to continue Throne of Glass this fall. I really want to finish the series by the end of the year, so we'll see how far through the fall that I get through the series. The next book on my TBR is A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. I'm sure all of you have heard about this book. They just recently turned it into a Netflix series, which I've heard really great things about. So I really want to read this before I dive into the Netflix series, because I always enjoy and prefer reading the book before I see the movie. I don't know if everyone else feels that way. Let me know down below if you prefer to watch the movie before the book and why, because I always like to have my own image of what the characters are like and what the setting looks like based on the author's description before I get it stuck in my head what the characters are going to look like based on an actor. Next on my TBR is a classic. I have Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. I got this gorgeous cover from HomeSense. Just so you know, I don't know if it's also in the States, but I know Canadian HomeSense now has a book section, and they have books for really cheap there. I remember reading this in high school, and I love Mary Shelley. I think it's amazing that a woman her age in the time period she lived in wrote such a masterpiece of a novel back then. And of course, Frankenstein is like classic Halloween vibes, so I'm really excited to dive into this fall. Next on my TBR is Mr. Mercedes by Stephen King. I have not read a Stephen King novel in I don't even know how long. It's probably back in high school. It's a mystery thriller. Really excited to pick this up and dive into it for the fall. Next on my TBR is Golden Sun by Pierce Brown. I read Red Rising earlier this year in the summertime, and that was a 5-star book for me. If you have not heard of, which I don't know how, but if you've not heard of Red Rising by Pierce Brown, I definitely recommend picking it up. It is a sci-fi book, and it was definitely one of my favorite reads of the year. This is the second book in this Red Rising series, and I am excited to pick this up. I feel like I have to be in the right mood for it though, because this series is very, very plot heavy. There's a ton of politics, there's a ton of characters, there's a lot of different things to be able to follow in it, so I have to be in the right mindset to dive into this book, which is why I've kind of held off on it. I think a book like this is going to be really great to cozy up on the couch with and really dive right back into this world. Next on my TBR is Reckless by Lauren Roberts. I read Powerless and Powerful earlier this year. My brother got me both of those for my birthday, so then I had to pick up Reckless. I am really excited to dive back into the world of Kai and Peyton. I love the dual points of view in the first book, and I believe that this one also goes into dual points of view. It's basically this girl and this guy are in love with each other. They won't admit they're in love with each other, but they definitely are. And she had to do with this rebellion, and now he's hunting her down. I think the next book in this series comes out early next year, so I'm excited to get this knocked off my list of continuing series. Next on my TBR is 5 Broken Blades by Mai Corland. I got this in my Book of the Month box a couple months ago. I just haven't gotten around to it. I haven't filled up to it. It's a pretty thick book and it's pretty fantasy heavy. I was saving it for the fall. I believe that this is about 5 different assassins or killers that are tasked with killing the king, and the one who kills the king gets to take the crown. I'm really excited to dive into this book. I've heard really great things about it. The next book that I have on my TBR is The Mystery Guest by Nita Prose. I haven't read anything by this author before, but I saw this at the bookstore while I was there the other day. It's actually a signed copy as well. I know this is a mystery novel. I don't know much else other than that. Very intriguing to me. It looks like it'll be a fairly quick read for me. So I think this is going to make a perfect cozy fall book. Next up on my TBR is Divine Rivals by Rebecca Ross. This is another book of the month book that I got a couple of months ago that I have not dived into. I've heard so many good things about this. I've heard everybody and their mom talk about this book. I am looking forward to reading this. I do believe that this is fantasy with hope and heartbreak. This is a romantasy book, and I've been getting into more romantasy books. I used to like never read romance, and Emily Henry changed my mind about that, so I'm starting to dabble more. And last but certainly not least on my TBR is The Maidens by Alex. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his last name. By Alex. And I read The Silent Patient by him earlier this year and I really enjoyed it. And I picked up this book for $8 at HomeSense. It's like a Greek mythology murder book. So I'm really excited to pick this one up. Like I said, the themes throughout all these books are either fantasy or murder mystery, which I am all here for the fall time. I think that really fits the fall vibes. I'm also really excited to read more from this author. I have The Fury by him on my TBR because I really enjoyed his writing in The Silent Patient, so I'm hoping that this one's just as good. I haven't heard as many people talk about this one as I have The Fury and The Silent Patient, so I'm unsure if this is like a hidden gem or not. So I'll keep you guys updated and let you know. You'll probably see me read it in a future reading vlog. I hope that you hit the subscribe button so that you can see when I post new videos. I'm hoping to post on a more weekly basis going forward now. And thank you so much for being here. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video.